the 2020 Back Pocket Awards for Excellence in Video Game Excellence, and we have reached the COVID Game of the Year. This is the game that got us through 2020, not just individually, but as a community.
This is my favorite award that we're doing.
Yeah, this one's exciting.
Can I just say, I think it's a lovely category. I'm excited to talk about all of the games that we're going to be talking about, and I feel good.
It took a pandemic for us to come up with finally a reason to all come together in video games.
She's caught the fever of this award.
Absolutely. And so let's take a look at the nominees. They are Paradise Killer.
Oh, no.
They are Flight Simulator, Animal Crossing New Horizons, Among Us, Phasmophobia, and Fall Guys. These were the choosing criteria. We don't have any to knock off this list. We've just got the top 5. The choosing criteria for this were games that either brought us together or games that allowed us to experience the world that we wished we could go out into.
Yeah, essentially with those top 2, Flight Sim being the obvious choice for the ability to go anywhere in the world when we can't, and then Animal Crossing, which was like, that was right on peak COVID.
Just hit
happening at the same time.
The sales for that game were insane.
It sounds terrible to associate with a really delightful, very sweet-looking Nintendo property, but they're like, it's like perfect time to.
I could not go to bed without Steph having that music cranking.
Also, it was the first Animal Crossing game that I got like properly into.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
So it was like that, and it was just like such a peaceful way to try and forget the world's shitstorm. It's just like, it's gonna pick more peaches. It's gonna pick more peaches.
I think
Neighbors, I found a fossil.
I think it is easy to think that Among Us wins this because Among Us is the hotness right now and has been for a while, I would say.
Yeah.
But my vote for...
Straight into it.
Yeah. I'm just going straight to number 1.
Well, we obviously like.
This man don't fuck about.
We'll go to that, but the other 3 are like the big hits of, well, maybe less Phasmophobia, but Fall Guys and Among Us, you're right, had that thing where it was just number 1 on
Flash
Twitch.
in the pan.
Yeah.
Well, they were both flash in the pan, but
Like
it was
bringing people playing together.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
They just hit at just the right time.
It was like things you could hang out with friends with and play video games.
Yeah.
And that were built around actual, like, I mean, less so Fall Guys, but definitely Among Us and Phasmophobia.
Well, yeah, because then Fall Guys was the ability to feel like you were interacting with a lot of people and competing, and constantly you were all in the same boat of just doing these stupid activities, but you're with all these people going, let's just waste time together.
And it was a very like high energy kind of candy,
Cute
sugar box,
looking, bright.
cute, fun.
It was like a Last of Us tonic.
Okay, but you were saying...
But for me, I do think Animal Crossing wins this. I think Animal Crossing, because it is easy to forget that it really did come out at a time where right now the world is, like right now as we're filming this, the world is fucked. Australia's pretty good. But Animal Crossing came in at a time where it's like, what is going to happen?
Yeah.
Everywhere. And everyone was like, I do not know what the future looks like. No one could leave home. Like, we were all trapped. There was just, it came at like that peak moment where everyone went, oh, this is actually serious. And the balm for that was escape to your own, like, isolated island where you can build a perfect house and wander around your garden and just be like the celebrities who sing the songs about how we just need to all stay at home now in enormous houses.
Yeah.
You could be that person in Animal Crossing.
I totally agree with you. I guess it's just that like it was still isolating in its own way. And I feel like for a COVID Game of the Year, I really love the community aspect because, you know, I've never played online games more than I have this year because I've just not been able to see my like real world friends as much. You know, it helped me feel like connected to people. And when I think about Animal Crossing, I feel like I really went into a hole. Like it was a necessary hole that like we just didn't, it was the start of lockdown. We didn't know what to do. A safety hole.
Everyone in
But I
safety
feel like I wasn't really communicating with people except for when I needed to
pick peaches instead of cherries?
No, the stupid turnip market.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, guys, what are your prices? What are your prices? Like, come to I can sell my turnips. Like, so I feel like, yes, like
Feels like it's a real emotional roller coaster for you. Just need some more peaches. Where are the turnips?
I got really into cross-breeding flowers as well. That was a really big thing for me. Like, I really wanted to I wanted to go to different people's islands, and like I'd go to people's islands and like, oh, this is my island. I'm like, don't care. What flowers have you got? Like,
we shared an island, and one time I ran over one of her flowers, and she didn't talk to me for like 48 hours.
That's incredible.
Oh, wow,
that's incredible.
So,
and you don't think.
So what I'm saying is, yeah, it's either one or two. But my argument for it not being number one would potentially be just that it was. For a COVID game, yes, it was a balm for the horrible things that were happening because it's so charming and lovely, and it provided a wonderful alternative, but it didn't bring me together in the way that some of these other games on the list with people.
The only question I would have with that is there any value in the fact that we all went down our own holes, but we all went down holes together?
Yes.
Like as Reddit, as Twitter,
totally
like everyone was just
true.
like,
Everyone was sharing in that together.
Totally, yeah. I was going to say that, like, it's not necessarily. Yes, you're not playing with people directly all the time, but you were totally down that hole with a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you were able to go to Twitter and go like, "What are your turnips selling for?" and you know you're going to get responses, and you're going to be buying a ticket to their island within 20 minutes is a testament to the fact that was a multiplayer experience.
Yeah.
from Nintendo.
From Nintendo. Yeah, and that's like the only reason to buy a Nintendo Plus. But now there's Donkey Kong Country 3.
You're right. Yeah,
pretty cool.
I'm happy. I feel like I wanted to play devil's advocate.
Yeah, no.
I don't want to play too much more devil's advocate, but like it's definitely a 2 for me. It's definitely not 1, and it's further down for me because my reaction to it was, what the fuck am I doing with my time? Like I found myself playing it going like, not only is the world gone to shit and I'm not being able to do the things I want to do, I'm now wasting this time on this useless existence where I am like
Thank you, Peter Burrs.
and then I even found the multiplayer. The multiplayer aspect to me wasn't as accessible and wasn't as liberating to meet people and to socialize as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I'd never really gone in hard on an Animal Crossing game, and I thought there would be more ability to be like it brings you all together. And the kind of really the way it made you buy tickets, meet people, not the right time of day, all that kind of stuff was like I couldn't be bothered. I occasionally did it. People would just turn up to my island. I found it very confronting. But my point being is that it did feel to me like
wearing a towel.
I was. I did find myself feeling like I was wasting time with the game. Whereas
Is that not all video games?
Well, yeah, but at the same time, you could argue that playing like Phasmophobia with you guys, I was strengthening a relationship.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Flight Simulator, I'm learning how to fly a plane.
I think that the thing with that is, and this is why I stopped playing it one day hard.
Yep.
Like I just stopped
Cold
playing
turkey.
it cold turkey. Is because it's a game that rewards you for logging in regularly throughout the day because
Yep.
it's like you can only catch these fish when you're logging in at 3 p.m. and if you want this thing, you got to be logging in at 7 a.m.
For some reason, it's always that
suddenly it was
COD.
just and like there'd be like silence, and then at one end of the house you just hear. And I'd be like, oh, God damn it. But at the same time, my argument to counter that is, now I'm arguing for it, is that like, where am I? Is that I think the reason why I got into it so intensely this time was that because I had the excuse of lockdown, it allowed me to engage in that game, with that game in a way that I would never be able to.
like with less guilt.
With less guilt. And I feel like that's a good argument for it being COVID Game of the Year.
Yes.
Because it is a game that was specifically like enjoyable in this particular setting.
Oh yeah, and then that's just my twisted backwards lifestyle that if I have free time,
you should be using it
I should be
productively.
using it.
Yeah.
And when I'm busy, that's when I want to push that stuff aside and play a game for a while. So
Yeah.
it's totally backwards.
So
but I get
what would
exactly
you put at
what
number
mean.
one?
At number one, I didn't really come around to that yet, but honestly, I think it's Among Us as someone who never played it, but I vicariously, hang on, I watched a shitload of it. And to get that much enjoyment out of watching people play it and to know that people who did play it got even more enjoyment out of it, I'm like, that for me crosses both like sides of the fence, and it's like, cool, it's doing more for more people. So maybe that, but then for me, Phasmophobia was one of the most fun things I've done this year. And maybe that doesn't therefore make it a COVID Game of the Year. I think the way you categorized Animal Crossing makes more sense for the category. But I would say like, yeah.
They all make sense for the category.
The other thing too, and this is now I'm arguing for Among Us again, is that is that I would say Among Us shone in that it was a game that so many people were able to watch and enjoy. Whereas I feel like watching someone stream Animal Crossing was like mildly enjoyable in the way that any other game.
I think playing it's a
would
waste
be.
of time. Try watching someone play it.
Yeah,
But
that's
Among Us
interesting.
was like you could play it with 10 people, but so many people enjoyed watching other streamers play it because of that argument element.
Yeah.
Because you're watching one person lie and you can see their face
Yep.
while they're lying, trying to convince other people.
And-
And so it made it this kind of massive entertainment thing for everyone to engage in, even when they weren't playing it.
And I would say, even though I want Animal Crossing to be number one on this list, and the tiny part of that is selfish as well because it's the first game I played with my son, so it's like we had that, and I haven't played Among Us, and I won't. But I can also see it winning because Animal Crossing replaced the experience of being able to go outside, and Among Us replaced the experience of and introduce people to the idea of board
Lying.
games.
Oh, right.
And
Yeah, right.
hanging out together, playing a game that normally you would play at a table with friends. Like you're doing everything about that game is a game that you would normally play on a board game night,
Yeah.
but you are actually playing it online. And I do think you make a good point about the Twitch, like the viewability,
Yeah.
as bringing a lot of people together, not just people
Yeah.
who play it.
I wonder how many people watching this right now are flip-flopped. Like I
We
have.
said, yeah.
Even just in watching this, I realized a game we missed, and I don't think it's too late to.
Spiritfarer.
No,
It's Gus's paradise.
it is.
The joke is, which you probably haven't seen because I don't,
Some
if
of
we
them,
said it on
some
camera,
of them didn't happen on camera.
every category, Gus is like, we probably should have
Probably should have put it. No, because I don't know which one exactly I played, but we did one on the show, and I played heaps with people who never play games that I dragged into it, and it's not here.
Worms.
Any games from the Jackbox collection.
Oh yeah.
I
yeah.
dragged so many people who came to me with we could play stuff together. Friends in Melbourne, friends interstate and stuff who were
You
like,
could say that every year.
you could,
Yeah.
you totally
I,
could.
I thought of suggesting Jackbox for this list, but then I was just like, we've had Jackbox for so long, it doesn't really feel like.
Let's
something
say-
I agree.
Let's say that we had 6 games on this list when we first started, and we removed Jackbox, and it got an honourable mention.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay
and
with
we
that.
also removed Paradise Killer. Okay.
Well, let's get the numbers up.
So,
and let's start
do
doing
we
this
want to
the
go?
real way.
Okay, well, I'm going to float a list.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Among Us number 1,
Yep. Agree.
Animal Crossing number 2.
Agree.
Yep.
Oh, it's either going to be Fall Guys or Flight Simulator. My argument for Flight Simulator is that it.
Maybe we didn't do it the way we're thinking people did, but I know a lot of people who just got on that and flew for an afternoon.
I did that. I ended up doing that at home.
Yeah,
I
just-
played
yeah, I
quite
did.
a bit of just visiting places,
Yeah,
going
right.
to Europe, which I was supposed to do on a plane this year, that sort of stuff.
I flew Melbourne to Sydney.
There you go.
It was
The
thrilling.
dream was achieved.
Yeah, I would put Flight Simulator, Phasmophobia, Fall Guys.
I would differ from that list.
Yep.
I'm just going to start piecing it together. We can.
I would, in my heart, Animal Crossing is number 1, but I accept everything that's been said. Animal Crossing is the best game on this list. But Among Us is probably the better choice for this category. Among Us, Animal Crossing, I would put Phasmophobia next, then Flight Simulator, then Fall Guys.
Okay. Why Phasmophobia?
Because it is ridiculously fun.
Okay.
And an effective game.
Yeah.
It's not like a well-made game, but it is really effective in what it does. And it didn't matter who I was playing that with. It was a fun experience.
Yeah, and I agree with you entirely, but for this category, I feel like Phasmophobia would work if we had a best multiplayer, most fun game I had. Like, it would fit in so many other things.
Yeah, true.
Flight Sim is just so unique to this category in the sense that it did something that wasn't designed for in a time
Gave
that-
us the chance to
that
escape.
gave us a chance
Yeah.
to do it, and so it's just those planets aligning.
I think that's fair, and
It's why it goes
love
there.
Phasmophobia.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I agree with you. I think that's fair.
And I think Fall Guys is fundamentally broken. And it just looks cute, which is why people
Well,
played
it's funny how we've
But
all
it is the
said
reason
that.
it dropped off hard is because it's just it's an unfun experience because it's random as hell.
The randomness.
but that makes it a level playing field.
No, it doesn't. It makes it's a competition that is rigged.
Yeah, but that's the nature of like all of those Takeshi's Castle things. Like you got to be skillful to a point, but there's always going to be some random thing that like
There's always
There's
going to
always-
be
in
a
the
giant
face.
foam boulders going to come
Yeah.
flying.
Yeah, I mean, I
chaos is its selling point.
I like playing Fall Guys in small doses, but I was shocked at how hard it fell off.
Yeah.
And because the trajectory of those games, like that's why Phasmophobia for me I agreed that I didn't put it as high because I was like, it was Fall Guys, Among Us, Phasmophobia, Among Us, like in terms of like how the Twitch, I guess, the viewership and the community and stuff. Phasmophobia felt like, oh, we came along, we did put some cool tweaks on this, but like we're jumping on the back of some other games that have come out recently and done this kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I am happy, I'm happy with that list. I would be.
Yeah, let's bring it on.
I think that's good.
So number 1, Among Us. Number 2, Animal Crossing New Horizon. Number 3, Flight Simulator. 4, Phasmophobia. And 5, Fall Guys falling off the bottom of the list. And then, of course, 6, an honorable mention to any Jackbox party game in there that I got friends playing. If anything, for Jackbox, it was just that one. What's that one fun game in it that we always play that we did last time? That's like the funny word game.
Whiplash.
It's just that.
Yeah.
It's a mini game in a bigger game in a series of 9 games.
You're right in that it's a good one that you can involve people who don't play games in. So that's nice.
Well, the reason I was saying as well is that as we did in the show, we did it all with our phones as well. It was like the accessibility was huge there.
Yeah.
But yeah, honorable mention number 6.
Yeah.
Whiplash number 1.
There you go. So that is the COVID game of the year. What was your COVID game of the year? Let us know in the comments, and we'll be back with, I believe, our final category tomorrow, and that is the back pocket game of the year.